And before I begin talking about my educator, I want to talk a little bit about my experience in kindergarten with my daughters. When I was young, kindergarten wasn't compulsory, and it wasn't even available in public schools, at least not in Montana. And my parents, though, felt very strongly about education, so I was given the opportunity to go to a private kindergarten, which I loved. I don't remember a lot of the activities anymore, but I do remember more of my daughter's experience some 21 years later. When we went to hers, there was lots of use of manipulatives and activities, songs, visual aids, and that with the children. And they all loved it, and there was lots of play. And why am I talking about kindergarten instead of my educator? Well, my educator is Friedrich Froebel, and he was credited with founding the kindergarten system and with kinder gifts and kinder occupations, or what we would consider educational toys and material, as well as activities. Now, Friedrich Froebel, he lived from April 21st, 1782 to June 21st, 1852 in what is now present-day Germany. And he grew up kind of lonely because his mother died when he was 9 months old, and his father was a Lutheran pastor, and he served many villages, so he wasn't home very much. He was left in the care of his older brothers. When his father did remarry, his stepmother and him were estranged, and he was sent to live with his uncle eventually. And at the age of 15, he went on to be apprenticed as a forester, and there he gained his love of nature, which you can see a lot of influence of nature in his theories. Now, he went on to establish in university studies, he studied architecture, linguistics, and mineralogy. Now, you're probably wondering how that fits in with kindergarten. Well, architecture gave his perspective and symmetry to his kindergarten system, while linguistics gave, he used that in language instruction as part of, or applied language usage to instruction. And mineralogy, he found that when in the process of crystallization, crystals move from simple form to complex form. And he found that was the same in human development. We learn line upon line, or from the simple to the more complex. And he found that to be a universal law. And some of his accomplishments included that he established the Universal German Educational Institute at Gresheim in 1816. He established an institute at the Wartensee in Lake Sempat, Switzerland, 1831, and he operated an orphanage and boarding school at Bergdorf. One of his early employment opportunities was at the Petzolonian Frankfurt Model School, and for training there, he went to Yverdon, Switzerland, and studied with Johann Petzoloni, and many his kinder gifts and occupations are actually based on Petzoloni's form, number, name lessons. However, he differed with Petzoloni in that he was more religious, and he thought that Petzoloni's work was crudely empirical and at the same time unscientific. He moved on to establishing his first kindergarten in 1837 for 3 to 4 year olds. But in 1851 to 1860, his work was banished in all kindergartens in Prussia due to political reasons. But by the end of the 19th century, kindergartens had still spread throughout Europe and North America. And the spread of kindergarten in North America was largely due to John Dewey and his use of Froebel's principles in the experimental school in Chicago. The essence of Froebel's theories can be summed up in a quote from The Education of Man by Froebel. All existence originates in and with God. Humans possess an inherent spiritual essence that is the vitalizing life force that causes development. All beings and ideas are interconnected parts of a grand, ordered, and systematic universe. Now, as I said, a large part of what Froebel is credited with, besides the kindergarten system, is kinder gifts and occupation, or educational toys and materials. He also published several books on educational theories, which included The Education of Man, Education by Development, The Pedagogics of Kindergarten, his autobiography, and Mother's Play and Nursery Songs. And his work can be seen throughout the world today, and I don't think there's very many of us who haven't had the kindergarten experience and have that influence in our lives and knows what it means. And that's Friedrich Froebel. Thank you.